All right, it's straight up 8 o'clock and welcome to Hot Topics. Tonight, we're excited to be looking at the Advanced Club experience, and we have 5 of our 6 Advanced Clubs with us tonight. We're very sorry that the 6th one was unable to be with us, but that's just what happens when people work unusual shifts with their work. So tonight I'm going to just very quickly walk through the process we're going to use. We're going to take a few minutes, I'll introduce the first club. When the first club finishes, each club has 3 minutes to introduce themselves, their representatives to introduce themselves, to tell us a little bit about their advanced club and what makes them special compared to some of the other clubs. And then I'm going to ask that person to introduce the next club instead of turning the floor back to me and then me introducing it, because I really want you to have all the time possible to share the information about your club. So if we're clear on how that's going to work, do you have your alphabetical list of clubs present so you know who you'll be introducing? Very good. All right, then let's get started with Capital City Advanced Presenters. And with us tonight are Cindy Irvin and Matthew Kanar. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. I am Cindy Irvin, and I am president of the Capital City Advanced Presenters, also known as CCAP. We are a club in the western side of the Des Moines Metro. We are a newly chartered club that just chartered last February with a bunch of people from the area here. We also have other people from outside our area that are part of our club. We concentrate a lot on practicing presentations about what's coming up, whether it's what we're going to present at Huddle last weekend, or what we have coming up at work that we need to present. So we have a lot of forum that we use in that objective. Matthew, what do you have to add to this?
Thank you, Cindy. My name is Matthew Kanor, and I am the Vice President of Education for Capital City Advanced Presenters. Piggybacking on what Cindy offered, we do also like to pride ourselves on having a 2-part evaluation to every speech. So we like to have an evaluator focus on the content of the speech, what the individual is actually presenting, as well as an evaluator to really reinforce how their presentation style is working, making sure that they're moving with purpose, that their volume and their vocal variety are really reflecting what they're hoping to project from that presentation. We also do offer a round robin evaluation for every presentation, which we are always very excited to hear from multiple voices when it comes to speeches, presentations, and projects. We're very lucky to have as many Des Moines Toastmasters that we do, as well as a few select Cedar Rapids Toastmasters that we are thankful to have as always. But if you're ever interested in presenting at Capital City Advanced Presenters or interested in becoming a member, we would love to hear from you. With that, it is our pleasure to turn the time over to Crossroads Storytellers Club.
Thank you, Matthew. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. My name is Mark Latta, and I am the president of Crossroads Storytellers 1443. We meet on the fourth Saturday of every month. It's a 2-hour meeting that starts at 10:30 in the morning. I want to talk about 3 different aspects of Crossroads that you may or may not know. First, what makes our club different? We focus on all the different aspects of telling our stories, real or made up. We've really focused, if you visited before, we are really focusing on getting back to our roots, having an opening story, making sure that we weave our stories into our presentation whether it's an inspirational speech or it's just a plain old story. To that end, we have free storytelling workshops that happen on the second Saturday of every month as well to help others improve their storytelling experience. Number 2, what makes our club fun? Now, we're kind of legendary for our improv, especially if you were in the hospitality room in the before times when we could still see each other face to face. Now, if you're a little nervous about improv, we ease you into it. I'm not going to say that our improv is always good, but I will promise you it's always fun. 3, what makes our club challenging? Now, we have top-notch speakers that are members of our club. People have won at the district level and even gone on to the international level. One of the challenges that I experience often is evaluating that caliber of speaker. You really have to dig deep. Another challenge is being evaluated by that class of speaker because they always have things that I never would have even thought about. And like it was mentioned before, we have very interesting round robin evaluations if that's what you want to do. So we're a little bit different. We focus on storytelling. We're always fun and it's challenging, but it really helps us stretch and become better speakers and better storytellers. I implore you to come visit Crossroads Storytellers, 1443, fourth Saturday of every month, 2:30 to 12:30. Join for the stories, stay for the improv, and learn to be a better speaker and storyteller. Back to you.
All right. Next up is Five Seasons Leadership Academy.
Hi, my name is Gary Whitehill, and this year I'm privileged to be the president of Five Seasons Leadership Academy, or 5SLA as we like to call it. Also here tonight from the club are Sherry Sullivan and Mark Latta. 5SLA is an advanced club based in Cedar Rapids, and we meet once a month on the second Friday evening, starting at 7:30. We currently meet through Zoom. Prior to that, and hopefully in the near future, we met at the home of Jamie Ward and Julia Vensky at 1001 Oakland Road Northeast in Cedar Rapids. And we affectionately call their home the J&J Saloon. When we're able to meet in person, we start at 6 o'clock with some socializing, followed at 6:30 with a potluck dinner and some very, very serious conversations around the dinner table, as Sherry and Mark can tell you. And the meeting starts at 7:30 and runs for 2 hours. Our differences, our mission revolves around improving leadership and gaining a better understanding of how to more effectively run meetings through parliamentary procedure and the use of Robert's Rules of Order. Rather than 7 to 5 minute speeches, we typically have one longer 20 to 25 minute presentation on an aspect of leadership. Usually these contain discussions on the topic from the different members. This year we added Lessons from Laura, a 5-minute presentation on an area of Robert's Rules of Order from DTM Laura Mead, who's one of the very few registered professional parliamentarians in the state of Iowa. Then, rather than table topics, we have what we call tabled with a D topics, during which time we make motions and practice our parliamentary procedure. Most of the time our motions are not serious, and occasionally they're quite silly. But this makes the process fun while we still learn. If we get confused, we take a time out and have a discussion to clarify questions before resuming. Now, many of our members are experienced district leaders from whom we can learn. We currently have 16 members and 30 of them are DTMs. We have 7 past district governors or district directors. But please, don't let that intimidate you. You'll find us fun, supportive. We're eager to teach, but we're also eager to learn from you. So we'd love to have you come and join us. As an added benefit, members get to read some of the most entertainingly composed meeting minutes ever crafted by a secretary. DTM Mark Anderson, the 2020 District 19 Capsias Award winner. Being an advanced club, to be a member, you have to belong to a home club and have completed 2 pathways levels or 6 projects under the old educational program. But guests are always welcome, regardless of where you are in your Toastmaster journey. We'll be happy to answer questions later. Now let's hear about another advanced club with a different mission, Game Changers.
Thank you, Gary. I'm going to talk for just a couple of minutes and then we'll let Sue talk as well because she is also a member of Game Changers. So one of the things that Game Changers is it's just very different than what you typically see about a Toastmasters Club. We've all talked a little bit about the advanced club so far tonight and how we all have something special that we focus on. Game Changers, their focus there is really on the residents who are part of the building that's there. We spend our focus with them practicing how to apply for jobs, how to interview for jobs, how to gain their dreams back. So many of their dreams have been shattered just kind of based on what's been happening in their life. I personally think that you go in there thinking you're going to teach the residents something, and you come out of it learning so much more from them as well. It's very much a give and take relationship because they pour into just as much as we pour into them. This club is one that really pulls at your heartstrings because you get to hear so many stories from the people who are residents there and just the challenges that they're able to overcome that none of us have experienced is really pretty amazing to hear. And just to see that growth that you see with the members that are there. I really think that it's a powerful club for someone to join if they're looking to do something a little bit different and give something back. Sue, what do you think?
I think what I would add to that is that Game Changers is set up out at the Hinsman Center. So the people that we're working with are people who are either incarcerated there, they're coming out of prison, or they're about to be on parole. So we're dealing with folks whose lives have been difficult, as Sherry said, or occasionally we'll be dealing with someone who is a 3-time OWI, who really isn't somebody who is normally considered part of the criminal element, if you will. So we never know quite who's going to be in that group. We started off in 2015 as a traditional Toastmasters club, and we struggled with that for 2 full years. It just was very hard to keep going in this setting simply because people are moving in and out of it all of the time. So we abandoned that and we created our own version of a Speechcraft so that people could come in and stay with us for about 4 or 5 weeks and get an entire program, and then we would start over again. It gave each of us a chance to run a Speechcraft, and that's one of the things that we've really tried to make everybody aware of, that if you need that kind of credit or want that kind of experience, this is a place where you could come in and in a relatively short membership, like say 1 6-month membership, you could do a Speechcraft. As Sherry said, we hear some really harrowing stories. We hear some really funny stories. We notice that the people who come in who are kind of looking at their shoes and not expecting us to deal with them face to face, eye to eye, are surprised. Now in time of COVID, we can't obviously shake hands. We can't even go into the building. So right now, what's happening for us is that we are meeting a couple times a month to keep our club going, in the hope that in the spring or maybe next fall, we will be able to be back in the building. But there are many things for us to work on in terms of what makes the club valuable to the people who are coming to it. And for that, we need lots of insight and lots of different people. So if there's anyone who's interested at all in this population or who wants a chance to give back, I promise you, this is not something that will leave your heart empty. I'm sorry, but I don't know who's next.
All right, we'll hear next then from Professional Achievers Toastmasters. Matthew Shavers is their representative. Matthew?
Oh, thank you, Madam District Director and fellow Toastmasters. As you stated, I am Matthew Shavers. I am currently the president of Professional Achievers. And as our name represents, we focus on professional speakers. That's one of our unique characteristics. I believe we are the only advanced club that really does focus on people that have a desire to perhaps become professional speakers. We have seasoned and new members that are focusing on having a professional speaking career. That's not a requirement, but that's something that we give emphasis on for people that are coming into the club. We have longer presentations, including lesson seminars. So we have, typically a meeting would have one lesson speaker, which would be from 40 to 60 minutes, depending on their seminar that they're going to present. And then most of our other speakers, we have 3 speeches typically that can range from 15 to 20 minutes per speaker. So we are open to those who are comfortable with speaking. You don't have to have a competent communicator under the old program or have completed a pathway, but you do have to have a comfort level with speaking. We're not focusing on teaching the basics of communication and public speaking, but really pushing those techniques and characteristics that would be more common with someone that might be looking at moving into that next level of public speaking. Our evaluations are focused on improvements at a higher level. So we don't necessarily nitpick, but we try and focus on those key small areas that can take your communication and your presentation skills from good to great, and then from great to potentially being able to make a profit at being a speaker. So those are some of the aspects that we use in professional achievers to really try and help our members to go to that next level. As I talked about, our meetings tend to have longer presentations. We also have longer meetings. We meet the second Saturday of every month from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And that sounds like a lot, but when you think about it, when you're only meeting once a month, that's 12 meetings a year if you're fortunate enough not to be canceled because of weather. And we meet at the Bondurant Public Library when we were in person. Right now we are meeting on Zoom and still able to have those same types of meetings. With the educational presentations, it's a great opportunity for someone that's developing seminars or looking at some type of a longer presentation that they might need for a future pathway presentation, where you get into some of those longer presentations that are hard to do at some of your regular clubs because of time constraints. So we really are focusing on taking it beyond the initial competent communicator pathways, beginnings, and we're focusing on those public speaking skills at a more professional level. We'd love to have people come visit. We have lots of different Toastmasters that have been past international directors, lots of district leadership, and a focus on really being supportive and yet having fun. We have a regular joke master that we have jokes. We have a new idea award that we present so that someone has a new idea that they have from the meeting that we'll recognize that. So we're really focusing on trying to give that educational aspect on going to the next level. So anytime, come visit us. If you want to join us on Zoom, we'd love to have you. And then when we're back in person, love to have you visit us at Bondurant Public Library. Madam District Director.
Thank you, Matthew. Let's give all of these people a great round of applause for sharing their information with us tonight. Thank you very much. We have a sixth club in the Quad Cities called Quad Cities Advanced Toastmasters. They meet the first and third Saturday of each month, and their information will be listed at the end of our meeting today with their contact person listed. Their specialty is in a 3-person evaluation panel. They do include content, style and delivery, and then the manual evaluation, which would be, if you're doing something from Pathways, it would be the evaluation that goes with your project there. Or before with the Legacy program, it would have been the manual evaluation. At this point in time, we are just so fortunate within District 19 to have 6 very different advanced clubs for any of you that are looking to advance your speaking skills and your leadership skills. We want to open the floor right now to questions and answers. And what I would like for you to do is to speak up and say your name or raise your hand. And then if your question is for a specific club, please give us the name of the club when you give us your question. So the floor is now open. Yes, Sue?
I have a question for Matt Shavers with regard to professional speakers. I wondered, Matt, if you could just talk a little bit about what a typical meeting entails.
Sure, thanks for the question, Sue. So a typical meeting, we start out with the lesson speaker, which can run from 40 to 60 minutes. Just the previous meeting last month, we had past director Paul Wood do a presentation, and this month we're actually going to have Carrie Dostal doing a presentation. So the first hour is focused on what we call our lesson speaker, and that's an opportunity for someone that's looking at doing those seminars, or what under the Pathways, if you have those longer presentations where you're looking at maybe 30 to 40 minutes of a presentation, trying to put those into place. Then we typically would take a break if we were meeting in person. Right now, we shorten that break to maybe 5 minutes just to let people stretch the legs and take care of some biological needs. But then we come back and we have 3 speakers typically scheduled for 15 to 20 minute speeches. They can, under the Legacy program, we would probably have someone that might be doing a speech from one of the manuals, but they would expand it so that would go perhaps beyond the 5 to 7 that would be the standard, really focusing on making it more of a professional presentation versus just a regular 5 to 7 minute speech. So we focus a lot of emphasis on using PowerPoint, using technology, working on some of the different aspects that would help with doing the presentations. Then after we were done with the speeches, we would go into our evaluations. And the evaluations will vary. They will go between the standard evaluations where you would have your 2 to 3 minutes, but we also offer a round robin for those that would like that. And our presentations tend to be somewhat interactive. So a lot of our presenters will have question and answers as part of their presentation. So some of that gets incorporated from feedback even during the presentation that they're making. So it's a great way to do that particular type of a presentation. And after the evaluations, we go into business meeting. And at the end of the business meeting, we would then have our new idea award, our educational tips. So we have someone that gives a 1 to 2 minute tip, and then we have a joke. And finally, after that, we would have what we would have our post toasties, where we get together and just do some socializing and talking with people and guests if we have them, and trying to encourage people just to get to know each other beyond the regular meeting.
Post toasties, I hadn't heard that before. I have another question, Betty, if I may.
You may, Sue. Go right ahead.
Matt, how does your group and what you do differ from what Matt's group does? Matt Shavers' group does. Matt Canor. Sorry.
Not a problem. That's a very excellent question, Sue. And with how Professional Achievers work, there is a large emphasis on, from the way that Matt has it sounding, more of the long form presentation, more of that keynote presentation that an individual may be looking to provide to perhaps a work group, perhaps a group of individuals that maybe they're looking to impress something upon or seem as a professional. For Capital City Advanced Presenters, we are looking a lot at the growth of how our Toastmasters are working. As a solid example, our club has seen a lot of the Project 1 or the Level 1 Project 2 speeches where in Pathways it's that presentation and feedback where they're presenting one speech and then getting that opportunity to do that same speech later. We've also had a couple opportunities for individuals to provide their Level 3 elective of social speeches, which are 2 to 3 minute speeches, usually toasts, eulogies, a small roast, if they will. And we have this opportunity with our split out of content evaluator, presentation evaluator, and then round robin to provide more of a robust feedback, which I think is what sets Capital City Advanced Presenters apart from Pro Achievers, with both being excellent clubs in the Des Moines area.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Matthew Shavers.
Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Latta. You mentioned that you can ease people into the improv part of your club without having them feel perhaps maybe as uncomfortable as it just may sound when people think of doing improv. How do you go about doing that?
Well, one of the things is, first of all, we never put them first unless they want to be first. So we show them how badly we do it. And then people are like, well, it's like going to a karaoke bar. You see somebody and you're like, man, they did so bad at that song. I know I can do better than that. Pretty soon, you've got the whole room participating. Sue or Gary, anything you'd like to add with that?
It's just, I can remember one guest saying, you know, I was really, really nervous about this improv thing until I saw how badly you guys do it.
Right. We do always have fun with it though. And we try a lot of, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we do try to mix it up, especially in the Zoom environment. We've been doing like meet the press type sessions about nothing, so which lends itself very well to the talking head, for example. What did we do last month? We did something that worked pretty well.
We did the press meetings.
Press release, yeah, press conference. That's another one that lends itself pretty well to everybody being socially distanced and being on a Zoom call. Again, it's more fun, and it does help you actually think on your feet. I know that I use the skills I learned from my experience in improv at work, where I have to really think about on my feet. And it's usually not a ridiculous idea that comes out of my mouth, but sometimes that quick thinking, getting in that habit, and you're like, here we go.
All right, thank you.
Mark, I would like to add just one thing to that. And Gary and Mark saying how bad they are absolutely wonderful at doing improv. And it's like anything else. Yes, you are, Gary. It's like anything else in Toastmasters, we learn by watching the people that do it really well. And we get evaluations. And everybody who is experienced in the club, when you go into your first improv session, they'll like feed you things so you can just go with whatever they say. So it's not scary at all. You got to just be ready to be laughed at for how bad you are.
Thank you, Marilyn. Mark.
There you go. There's my meet the press background. Thank you. Actually, one thing that I probably I'm not as knowledgeable as Sue is. Sue, what workshops are you working on right now for the storytelling workshops on the second Saturday of the month?
Second Saturdays of the month, we're doing the free storytelling workshop, and this session, and each workshop has 3 sessions within it. So we are doing tall tales right now. And this, not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday, on the 14th, we will do our second meeting, which is a workshop meeting. So everyone will be bringing their tall tale and sharing it with us, and we will workshop several of them. I don't know that we'll have time to workshop everybody. We've gotten a really nice response this time. So, and then the second Saturday in December, you should all mark your calendars because we'll be having a tall tale showcase. So everyone who's been working on their tall tale will come back and be a part of the showcase. And a few of our veteran Toastmasters may also contribute at that point. We have to see how much material we get first. Our next session, our next workshop will be on historical speeches. So speaking about something from a historical perspective. And that should also be fun. Thank you, Mark.
Do we have any final questions tonight yet for our presenters? I want to thank all of you very much for presenting and also for attending tonight. And I've noticed Matthew is getting ready to share the contact list. I just want to say to all of you from the advanced clubs that our advanced clubs are some of the best kept secrets. And when you say an advanced club, sometimes people look like you like, what is it that you're talking about anyway? And what we want to do so that we can get more exposure for you is look at how we might want to display that information on the web page. And we have not had a final conversation about that yet, I don't believe, but hopefully we will draw closure on that very soon. And thank you, Matthew, for displaying that information. And that is similar information that we would consider having on the website. I don't know that we will have the name of the contact person, but we could, we'll have to look at some way that we don't have to go in and change that annually or every 6 months for those clubs who elect on a 6-month basis. But we're working on getting your clubs a little more exposure. And I think tonight was a good beginning. Are there any other comments from people that have joined us tonight before we sign off? Orville.
Thank you, Madam District Director. Just to say thanks for this. It's very interesting information about the advanced clubs. I've heard of advanced clubs before, but I didn't quite understand the range and content and so on. It seems that the clubs do great things, and just to figure out if I would want to be interested, if I would want to join one, and which one it would be. That's something that I take a long time thinking about.
Orville, I'm sure that any or all of them would be very interested in having you visit one of their meetings sometimes since they're meeting virtually. And that might help you. I'll quote Sherry Sullivan, choose one that has a good fit for you. She's talking always about how important it is that the club you decide to join is the one that has a good fit for you and your needs. So consider visiting them.
Will do. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, always free to visit, says Mark. So that would be Storytellers. And I'm sure they'll all tell you the same thing. Now, see, there's CCAP and saying they'd love to have you come. So thank you folks very much. And you have a very good evening. And we will see you hopefully next month. Next month is going to be our very own Teresa Michelson, the immediate past district director. And she's going to be presenting on leadership opportunities that are coming up in the very near future, and they will be our elected positions. She'll be talking to us about the nomination process and kind of the sequence of things that you need to be considering if you're wanting to run for a higher level office. So put it on your calendar for the first Monday in December, and Teresa will be our guest presenter, and we will be talking about other opportunities in leadership. So thank you very much for joining us tonight, and have a very good evening.
Don't forget to vote.
Thanks, Judy.
Night.
Bye, everybody. Good to see you all.
You as
Bye.
well.
Bye.
Good night.
So long.